Hello and welcome to what we are going to call Season 2. I believe Season 2 is pretty appropriate right now because we're about to move into another stage of the layout, which I have been pondering for a little while now. But quick bit of content before we start doing that. I found these at the local club rooms. These are a Class 142 railcar. You've seen them before. They're an interesting model, and I found them in an unpainted and unusable condition. There's no motors or wheel sets for them yet. However, we just concentrated on getting them look aesthetically pleasing in a way, and so I've repainted the upper body shell. The lower panels got a bit of pen black, looking great. Looking fantastic. Bit of watercolor for the headlights and tail lights. They pop out quite reasonably well, and I think that's a fantastic progress for a model that was literally just chucked out by someone. Hopefully I'm going to find some motors and stuff for them in due course. I have no timeline for them as such. However, they're looking good, and that's about as much as I can ask of them right now. And so, as we move on to the next update, I will show you some more wagons that have been acquired. Just a small bunch of them, as you can see. Another refrigerated van, another green sort of open top, open hull wagon, a little container wagon, and two small tanks. But here is the biggest update of them all. As you can see, I have now started to flesh out the world that this layout lives in. As you can see, it is marked by the big R on the middle of the map. What I've done here is I've included the surrounding towns and what they would produce as far as goods would be concerned. This brings me on to the next point, where I am now sort of picking and choosing the locos I will use, but also working out what sort of freight flows would be seen going through the area in terms of industry, and just getting an idea and a feel for that. First time I'm really sort of world building, if you like. Next page, as you can see, I've decided on how a northbound and a southbound timetable would work. This is like my pre-planned sort of, let's have a bash and see what we come up with. As you can see, one train per hour in each direction. That gives it a nice bit of scope. This time is simulated, by the way. It's not necessarily real time. As you can see, I've made that timetable into one long list. As you can see, I've also popped in some bits of code on the right. As you can, that will become a bit more apparent later on as I show you the cue cards that I have developed. As you can see here is a train layout. This is how it's going to operate as you can see, it not necessarily a single line layout. However, this layout will operate as a passing loop station. That was always the intent, just fleshing out some more of the more detailed where bits go in the layout. Here are the cue cards. As you can see, there is some cards with a loco number and some with freight and or DMU or things like that. Basically what I'm going to do is they're going to be paper clipped together as a sort of set run together in a simulated day. These are the trays at the front of the layout just under the controllers. Now these will basically be placeholders for like the northbound, southbound and the yards stuff. The idea is just to keep it organised so not only can I operate it, but someone else can join me and go, okay, I know what I'm doing too. This is where the cards are currently being stored. So basically we've got individual locos, we've got set, consist, DMUs, that sort of thing. So whatever would pass through in a typical day, that's what you're going to find on a card. I haven't tested this out yet, so this could all be a bunch of rubbish that I'm producing, but however, I'm giving it a shot, so we'll see how we go. On the bench, as you can see, we have the layout locos that I'm devoting to this layout in particular. There's a few more than this, but they're not all out. I've also decided to put some dirt on the grills, fan grills, and the exhaust of this particular loco, just to make it a little less cleaner. Being a special loco, I'm not going to go too far, obviously, but looking a bit better now. Just a quick detail on some of the wagons that have arrived in due course. As you remember, we had the big refrigerated wagon sitting there. That was then shortly joined by these littler freight wagons. Now, I'm always on the lookout for these. These are always good fun to utilise in different ways. As you can see, I've started to use up some of the wooden boxes for the open top wagon. I thought that'd be a bit more interesting to look at. Containers and the tanks, everything there is now weathered, looking fantastic. Now hopefully what I'm going to do in the future is I will get to try out my timetabled system. Now the idea is the time will obviously be sped up to a reasonable point where it's going to be actually a short amount of time to simulate a day. We're not going to go too heavy in it, but I need to experiment how long this day needs to last in particular. And that'll be the interesting experiment. I just wanted to see if this was a doable thing. I know of layouts that have done this. I'm not particularly sure how they've done it, but I thought I'd try. I thought I'd give it my way a go. I thought I'd have a shot and see how I would organise it if it was my own railway, which it is. Just thought I'd give it a go. Yeah, so that's why I would like to call this Season 2, because we are now sort of thinking along the lines of operation rather than can we stick some more bits on and make it look good, which we're still doing, don't get me wrong, but however I think this would be a good foundation for the start of a second season, if you like. That's how I'm going to play it. So not much in the name of layout detail changing. I'm still humming and hawing about buildings of the future. It's proving to be a bit tricky. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep going with wagon improvements and stock improvements. Just seeing what's out there. There's not a lot going on a budget viewpoint. So buying has literally dried up to nothing at the moment, which is fair enough. I am looking to replace the front points, the number 4 Electrofrog turnouts that Cardo does. I'm looking to get new ones of them because the points I have at the moment are not brilliant. They're not in great condition. However, that will come in good time. And that will be the end of this video. We will talk a bit more about layout operation and how we are going soon. I'll see you soon.